Is that not the catchiest music in sports talk radio? Come on, man. That is the best. That's the catchiest music in sports talk. Welcome to another night of Real Fellas Talk Sports. I am Greg Fender, your host for the night, broadcasting from the golf capital of the world, not the nation, of the world, Myrtle Beach. Let me introduce my fellas, starting off with my favorite Fox alumni, David Burnett. David, how you doing?
I'm doing great here in Indianapolis, cheering on my Pacers who are struggling with the G League lineup, but we're still fighting and almost winning. And by the way, I'm with the Colts, the best team in the NFL. Don't you close your face.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We'll get to that.
I still say the Pacers got some of the best athletes in the NBA.
Thank
to
you
the
very
voice
much.
of reason. There's only one voice of reason, and he is Larry Abels. Larry, how you doing tonight?
I'm fine. How about yourself, Greg?
I'm fantastic. And the longest iron hitter in the game of golf, my good friend, Chuck Snowden. Chuck, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Greg, I'm doing very well. Too bad hitting the ball with the iron was too bad that's just one part of a very complicated game because the rest of it sucks.
You had that part down, brother. So listen, we have so much to get to tonight. We're going to pack 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. So in the words of a great black philosopher, Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. All right, let's get to the World Series first. So the World Series, I think it was one of the most incredible, action-packed, extra inning World Series I've ever watched. So we'll just have some overall thoughts. David, what are your overall thoughts about this year's World Series?
A great series, which I didn't see very much of because I fell asleep during most of the series. Don't hate me for that. Remember, I'm the guy that got hit in the neck with a baseball.
The tragedy, the most tragic sports story that I know of. So listen, to that point, dude, I fell asleep on the extra inning, the game that went to 2 or 3. I fell asleep twice, and I woke up in time to see the finish. So you're not the only one that fell asleep.
No, but it was a great series, and Yamamoto played well, pitched well. You got to give it to the Dodgers. They have the payroll, they have the players, they have the manager, they have the complete pack, they have the town. They're you can argue, are they the number one team in Los Angeles? You could probably say so. They sell out most of their games.
Exactly. Larry, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the World Series?
It was good. One thing I like about baseball, momentum is really the pitch, whoever's pitching the next game. And, there's a lot of talk about this being the greatest ever. I don't know about that, but it was just like a lot of the 7-game series. It was very good. Lots of twists and turns. You could tune in at any time, and it always seemed like one team or the other had it under control. But I thought it was actually great. I thought the drama of even Game 7 going into extra innings added to it too. With respect to the 18-inning game, I fell asleep a couple of times. I woke up in the top of the 18th. Toronto had people on base and couldn't score. I hit the switch. I said, enough of this. Woke up the next day.
I think I went to the bathroom at that
15
time.
minutes.
That is great. That is fantastic. Hey, Andrew, nice suit, brother.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for tuning in, big fella.
Amen.
Chuck, what are your thoughts on the World Series?
Well, I know we do this recency bias thing, and Larry just touched on it. I did think it was maybe the greatest World Series I had ever seen. But again, that might be a recency thing because I can't remember it all. I kind of did some research before the show. They said the 75 World Series, which was the Boston Red Sox versus that great big red
machine.
And we could probably all talk about the lineup of the big red machine. It was that, they were that great.
Awesome.
And that was a 7-game series that the Reds won 4 games to 3, and they won. The score was 4-3 as well. And but I tell you, this thing had drama, pitching, key hitting, defensive plays that were incredible, 18-inning games. It just,
Yamamoto.
He pitched 100 pitches one day. Then the very next day came back and pitched a couple of innings. It had every single thing. And unfortunately, in a game like that or series like that, somebody had to lose.
Yeah.
So
That's just,
I picked the Dodgers to win, and there were times where I wasn't sure I picked the right team, right?
yeah, of course.
And so I will tell you, what I always learned playing baseball through the years was good pitching stops good hitting. Well, that series modified it. Good pitching slows good hitting. But the Toronto Blue Jays were such good hitters of the baseball. I mean, everybody in their lineup at any given time could jack one out. I mean, it was Guerrero, of course, he's the man.
Right.
But, man, anybody at any given time, you give them the wrong waist-high fastball and see you down the street. It's down the road. It was that good. Now, you mentioned Yamamoto. So he was 3-0, 1.02 ERA, 15 strikeouts. Was he the legitimate MVP? Should he have been MVP?
I don't see why not.
Larry.
I don't see why not. I mean, I think he was just as influential as anybody else that you could put out there.
Yep.
It was so many good performances, and I know the basis of this question by so many people, but I think he's as good as anyone else.
Yeah. David, what are your thoughts?
I totally agree. Yamamoto pitched well. He pitched well in multiple games. He had a complete game. You don't have complete games in baseball anymore. Right. He did that in the most significant of moments. So I have no problem with him being the MVP.
Chuck, what are your thoughts?
I have no problem with it at all. But I would be amiss if I don't mention Mr. Shohei. When you can play 18 innings, you have 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and after that, the manager said, no, we're not pitching to him anymore. They put him on 5 straight times. Well, I know he walked 5 straight times. I think his intentional was 4. So he was in the game until whatever, 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then the next day, he was the starting pitcher.
Well, later in the day.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I initially
kind of showed too. He wasn't himself on the mound that day.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah. It was clear. It was clear he didn't have his juice. He wasn't. He didn't have all of his juice. But I will say, the series went 7 games. The Dodgers won 4 games. 3 of them were won by Yamamoto. It's hard to say he's not the MVP if he wins 3 of your 4 games. So I've listened to a lot of pundits, people that supposedly really know baseball and are baseball experts, and I'm just, they're challenging whether or not he should have been MVP. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think you're wrong. I think that guy was golden. So I know this is a sports show, but I just got to throw one piece in there because it made me laugh. When the Dodgers won the World Series, because it's California, our current sitting president said they're not going to be invited to the White House because they're a California team. And I had to laugh because they immediately said, well, we didn't want to come. We didn't want to come.
We weren't coming nowhere.
You know what? I saw a tweet where he said he'd see them in the White House.
Yeah, he immediately said they're not only are they not invited, but
Greg,
actively investigating Major League Baseball. So,
Greg, I saw him tweet out that he would see them in the White House.
I hope that's right, because I hope that's accurate. And I did not see that. I saw the immediate aftermath. But this is a tradition that's been going since God only knows how long, and it's got to keep going. So enough of that. Let's get back to sports. Okay, NFL.
I want to say one thing.
Okay,
I'll just remind people of one not too long ago World Series when the Nationals played the Astros.
Right.
You had a team that was a wild card team and a second tier wild card team because they had to go on the road to win their wild card game. They go to Houston, win the 2 games. Hey, we got a chance. Then Houston sweeps 3 in Washington. Plus, the pitcher Scherzer got hurt.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Washington doesn't have a chance going back to Houston for 2 games, and they won it. And I think it was very compelling. It's hard to say one is better than the other.
It is,
but that one kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah. It's near impossible. And it's, Man, that's the lure of not just Major League Baseball, but all sports. It's why we play the game, because the hearts of these champions, they never quit. They never say die, and they fight till the last dog dies. And that's why we love sports the way we do, because that's how it happens. All right. So let's get on.
What's up, Robert Woods? Brother, what's up, Robert Woods? But one other quick thing about the World Series, because I could talk about it forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that catch that guy made in center field when he ran that ball down and made that catch, and the throw that the second baseman made to the plate to cut down the Toronto Blue. There were just defensive plays that happened in that series that I mean, we talk about pitching, I know, and the hitting, I know, but there were defensive plays that were made, double play balls.
The double play that Vlad turned was phenomenal.
Both teams were fielding great.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Can the Dodgers three-peat?
They got a lot. I mean,
I think they can. I do think they can.
You know, this was the first National League repeat in 50 years.
Yep.
50 years.
They use Japan.
Big red machine.
Japan is like their farm club, isn't it? Because I mean, they just go out and get the best player in Japan and bring him onto their team.
Ohtani was on a plane going to Toronto for talks, and somehow Dodgers got them to turn the plane around.
Yeah. How about that? How about that?
It was an amazing World Series.
All right, let's get to the NFL. So, what another week of topsy-turvy. How'd that happen? Who did that? What in the world's going on in the NFL? David, overarching thoughts on this past weekend of the NFL?
A lot of changes. My Colts lost. I feel bad.
Yeah, we're going to get to that game. Definitely, we're going to get to that game.
You know, but it was a lot of mixed results this week. And I think, you know, teams are going to have to reset, particularly the Cowboys, who we talk about all the time. They're done. Pittsburgh, who we thought was done, was not done. So it was just kind of a mixed bag this week.
Yeah, when you mention Pittsburgh, it helps to be in a really crappy division. It really helps. When the division is tanking, that you know, just get to good enough. Just get to a few wins and you can win it. But I'm telling you, between Cleveland, Cincinnati, these guys are, and Baltimore, they are having their worst seasons. And Pittsburgh is just playing average, and they're the top dog. So it's crazy. Larry, what are your thoughts?
On the NFL?
The NFL overall, just overarching thoughts on the NFL.
I think, as we said, and I think we all pretty much agree, there's no dominant team this year.
Correct.
That being said, there are 9 teams that only have 2 losses. So any team that lost last week, and David, you know I saw some of the comments about the Colts. They just lost a game. Yeah. I mean, they're 7-2. It's a whole bunch of teams that are really in the mix there. It's going to be interesting to see who we think are the top teams. 9 teams with only 2 losses. That's pretty balanced.
That's a lot of balance.
Yeah. Well, all the teams are not balanced, but the ones at the top are kind of playing pretty well. And I expect those teams to lose some more games too.
All right, Chuck, what are your overarching thoughts?
I think the record, Larry, is a mirage. And when those teams that have 2 losses, that don't mean nothing, because there's so many weak teams too, and some of those teams play weak teams, and so the flaws do not come out like the Colts. And so you take the Ravens. Hold on. The Ravens got 5 losses, and I still think they're one of the best teams in the National Football League. And they got 5.
Well, Chuck, I'll judge them by consistency. All right.
You can't.
Ravens haven't been consistent.
You can't be consistent like that, because the Kansas City Chiefs, for example, have played one hell of a schedule to date, and so their record doesn't look like they're that good. But in fact, they are good. Whereas the Colts ain't played nobody.
Don't get me started.
So I don't know if this week, if he's Danny Dimes or Daniel Jones or Cinderella Jones or Indiana Jones. I don't know.
He's had one bad game.
But he hasn't played nobody. He hasn't played nobody.
All right, let's do this.
And by
Let's
the
do
way,
this.
the other guy, the running back, he didn't do nothing either.
First of all, he
Yeah,
got
yeah,
14
yeah.
carries.
They played
All
a
right,
good
He had
game.
14
okay.
carries.
Let's do this. Let's do this. We're already halfway into it. So give me your top 3 teams in the AFC, starting with you, David.
Colts, Denver, New England.
All right, Larry.
I'm gonna say that the Colts, Buffalo, and New England.
All right. Chuck.
We're doing the
AFC first.
Buffalo, Denver, and the Ravens.
Whew. Okay.
Wow,
I got
that's a
the
reach.
Bills, the Colts, and the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are dead. I got the
I don't
Chiefs.
either.
So we'll start. Okay, now let's flip to the NFL. My top 3 in the NFL are Eagles, Lions, Buccaneers. David, who are your 3 in the NFC?
Number 1, Philly. Number 2, Seattle. Number 3, Tampa Bay.
Larry.
I'm gonna go with what David said.
Me too.
Okay.
Those are my
Okay.
3.
All right. That's a Watson. Okay. So we talked about this a little earlier. Quarterbacks. We have some really stellar quarterback performance going on right now. Who is your top quarterback today, right now, up to this point in the season? Who do you think is the best quarterback in the NFL, the entire league, entire NFL?
Who are we asking?
David. I'm sorry, David.
What's his name for the Seattle Seahawks?
Sam Darnold.
Sam
Sam
Darnold.
Darnold.
Okay.
Sam Darnold.
Larry.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Chuck.
You know, until the other night, I was going to, I could put Dak in this argument, but I think it's Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford for the year is the best quarterback in the National Football League.
So I settled back to Patrick Mahomes, but I will tell you that Matt Jones, I was leaning toward Matt Jones, but that's such a team effort that I don't know that he's the one that's sparking their great play right now. I know there's so many quarterbacks that are playing so well. It's hard to do that, but I got to say right now, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, man. I'll never let him go.
I'm gonna throw something at you guys, and I know y'all gonna laugh at me. And I asked for the distinction: who's played? What did you mean by who's playing the best? If we were gonna leave it for the last 2 weeks, I had to put Flacco out there because
Flacco's not kidding.
he has played great the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's on the list of things that we're going to talk about tonight too. Okay, so let's talk about the Ravens. Chuck, you brought up the Ravens. With their win over the Dolphins, are they back? Are they
Yes.
getting back to the Chuck?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
They were 1-5. They just won their second game in a row. Last week they held the team to 16 points. This week they held the team to 6. The defense is starting to come around. Obviously, they're loaded on offense. Mr. Lamar Jackson is back. He almost had a perfect game against the Dolphins. Believe me, and their schedule left, they got their next 5 games are the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals, and the Steelers. And then the Browns again. Believe me, the Ravens are back.
Right. Larry, are the Ravens back?
I think they're heading in the right direction. Now, I wasn't particularly impressed that they beat the Dolphins. Probably the worst team in the league. I actually thought they were in trouble until I'm sorry. I thought they was all the way back because I thought Indianapolis was going to beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh, I just can't see them holding on. So the Ravens are going to benefit from being in a weak division. And as Chuck was saying, they got to play a lot of those teams there. So they have a chance to right their ship. Not back yet. The only thing that makes me question is a lot of times divisional opponents kind of play well against you. And I expect them to lose some more games too, just like everybody else. But they're knocking on the door.
David, what are your thoughts on the Ravens?
They're not back. They're not back. They're just okay. They're playing the way they should have played, but they're far back. And Mike Tomlin and the Steelers are 3 games up on them. So keep that in mind. I'll be surprised because at the end of the season, excuse me,
2 games.
Okay, 2 games. That's a lot. And at the end of the season, it doubles back. They have about 5 good games in a row, winnable games, but after that, and I'm talking Ravens, after that it's going to get tough. I don't think they make the playoffs this year.
Ooh. I can't talk about health, right? Health, but given no one, they've gotten through their crunch in terms of their health, and they stay healthy and get all their continue, they're going to be right there. And by the way, let me ask the panel this question: if the Colts were playing the Ravens today on a neutral field, who would you guys take?
Colts. Let's just stop it.
Well, how about these other? There are other people on this panel, David.
Yeah, Colts. It's a no for me. It's a no-brainer. I go with the Colts.
I will go with the Colts at this point.
Okay, all right.
3-0.
Bookmark this conversation.
Right. So let me give you my take on the Ravens, and then we'll segue right into the Colts because they're a hot topic tonight. For me, the Ravens are not bad. The defense is still in need of intercessory prayer. Still, very much so. And I just, hey Phyllis.
How you doing, fellas?
So I think that before we can say they're back, now they're moving more toward Ravens form. They look more like the Baltimore Ravens that we know, but they still have a few loose edges. All right, what happened to the Colts on Saturday? And I will tell you, since the Commanders played Sunday night, and I actually went to that game, I'll get to that disaster fiasco. But I was so glad to be able to watch the Colts and the Steelers. The Steelers played so far over their heads, it's not even funny. I mean, they were so and poor Daniel Jones. I mean, turnovers. And I found myself, here's how much I believe in the Colts and how well I think they're playing this year. I'm sitting there waiting for Superman. I'm waiting for the comeback that never materialized. David, we'll start with you. What happened to the Colts?
They didn't let the running back run the ball enough. 14 carries is not good enough. Yeah. Taylor will break 1 or 2 every single game. They didn't give him a chance. Yeah. Secondly, how many turnovers do you have to have? Daniel Jones stunk because he couldn't manage the heavy rush that was coming upon him. And the offensive line, which had been strong this year, didn't do a damn thing. Now, is that a trend? No, it happens. How many undefeated teams have there been in the NFL? 1 in the history of the league. That's and right. Most great teams lose 2 to 3 games every season, and maybe 4 oftentimes. Right, Chuck?
Well, yeah.
I just want you to know.
Okay.
So, Larry, what happened to the Colts?
I saw a lot of that game. It just looked like bad matchup. One of the things is turnovers. Yeah, turnovers are going to kill you. But Pittsburgh's defense really looked like they were ready for them. Yeah. I mean, I think, David, they only got 14 rushes because they fell behind and they, relied on the pass and played right into Pittsburgh's hands. I got to give certainly the turnovers really hurt the Colts, but I got to give Pittsburgh's defense credit.
They caused the turnovers.
Yeah, and their offense was steady enough. They had a steady enough game plan. But
they got a game manager at quarterback.
Yeah. Well, he played pretty well, though. I mean,
he was a game manager.
I'll give him a little more than that.
Yeah, stop!
I'll give him a little more than that this week. And he certainly was that, and he wasn't like Superman, but they really look more prepared. That's all I can say.
He needs to take some more ayahuasca.
So the word is out, right, about the Colts. This kid is running the ball really well. So now, if I'm a coordinator, because it's been week 8 or 9, I put 8 in the box, and I dare Danny Dimes to beat me. So they put the guys closer in. They cut off Taylor a little bit. Part of that was because they did fall behind. But when you beat the Dolphins, they shouldn't have beat the Broncos. That was luck. They beat the Titans. They lost to the Rams. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Chargers. Who is that on their schedule? They haven't
Chargers.
beat anybody.
So, Chargers.
Well, the Chargers were hurt at the time. They've lost both their tackles.
You got to
here's the ultimate point I'll make to you. That team, and I've been asking you guys this question for weeks. Why are they good? Where are the good players? Where are the good players on
Jonathan Taylor's the best
Yes,
running
he
back
is a
in
good
football.
player. Yes, he's one.
No, he's not a good player. He's a great player.
Okay,
He's the
but where's
best
the rest
running
of
back in the
the
NFL right now.
Where are the rest of
I
the
think
good
their
players?
offensive line is very good too.
Offensive line is beast.
They got whipped Sunday, but their offensive line is good.
Okay.
You don't run like that, or Jones doesn't pass like that without them.
Okay, let's stay with you.
We'll bookmark that one too.
So let's stay with you,
We'll
Chuck. So
bookmark it.
4 p.m. Monday, I think Monday or Tuesday, the trade deadline. Not a lot of big trades. The Dallas Cowboys picked up a couple of good pay. The player Q that they got from the Jets is a beast. He's an incredible defensive lineman. But the one that really caught my eye was the Colts traded for Sauce Gardner and gave up 2 first-round draft picks for him. Now, I asked myself, is Sauce Gardner worth 2 first-round draft picks? The answer that I answered myself was, it depends on how bad you need a really good quarterback, right? So it's a relative question. But Chuck, do you think Sauce Gardner was worth 2 first-round draft picks, and will he help the Colts?
Here's what I like about the Colts in that situation. They're trying to win it. They're going for it. God bless them. Yep. In other words, they pushed all their chips in, right? And not only did they give up 2 first-round picks, they gave up a receiver who got picked in the 2nd round too that David says is trash. I don't know. I haven't been following the Colts like that. But the point I make is I like the fact that the team is going for it. I don't think they're going to make it, but yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right. Larry, what do you think?
I want to say about with Chuck here. I think that, a lot of times you don't have so many opportunities. They see their opportunity here, so they try to improve their team. Future's now. I'm all for that.
100%.
David.
First of all, I have a problem with these nicknames. Sauce Gardner. He played for the Jets. I'm glad he's with the team, but he's coming off a concussion. First of all, his name is Ahmad Gardner. That's how I will refer to him from now on. Ahmad Gardner. Just like Hollywood Brown is Marquise Brown. That's what their names are.
Daniel Jones. Didn't call him Daniel Jones. Don't get on here and call him Indiana Jones.
Don't get all mad, Chuck.
That is priceless. That is priceless.
Cinderella Jones is who he is.
All right, so we'll close out the Colts Steelers saga with this. There was a time I thought Tomlin's job might have been on the line. I'm starting to pull back from that. I know Pittsburgh is not quick to pull the trigger. I don't know if they've ever fired a coach. I don't think they have. But I'm starting to think that he's still a little bit of a little bit on the bubble. You'll hear some noise, but I don't know that his job is on the line. What are your thoughts, Chuck?
I don't think it's on the line. I mean, I think it'll be a mutual thing. If he doesn't want to coach there again, I think they will come to that. But he's got too much of a history. He's done too well. Has he ever had a losing season?
No.
Right. So I don't think his job is on the line. They've made some investment in Pittsburgh in their defense in the offseason. They got Aaron Rodgers. And so I think, it finally came together for them. Previously, their defense hadn't done that, but they came together this weekend.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is working out a lot better for the Steelers than he did for the Jets. So he's got that going for him. Larry, what are your thoughts?
When I talk to my friends in Pittsburgh, he's not as popular with the fans there as he is with us, but their management doesn't seem to fire people. And the team has been decent. I guess when you're looking for your team, it's great that you make the playoffs a lot, but when we're going to win the Super Bowl, that's what the local people are looking at. But I don't think that given their history, they're going to fire him. And, a lot will depend on if they win the division this year, because you got to win that division to make the playoffs. They make the playoffs this year. I can't see them going anywhere.
It's hard to fire a division winner, right? That's kind of hard to do. David, what are your thoughts?
Let's keep in mind the Pittsburgh Steelers had 55 years of excellence. 55 years. Prior to 1969-70, they were one of the worst teams in the history of the NFL. But they've had 3 coaches since then, and they've been very successful with all 3. All 3 have won NFL Super Bowl championships. Mm-hmm. And Mike Tomlin, his job's not on the line.
No.
He may not have won a playoff game since 2016, but he always has them in the mix. And the people of Pittsburgh, remember 1968, 67, 65. If you were alive, you were trash.
Yeah. Word. I mean, that is the bottom line. Okay. Let's stay with you, David. 31 of 47, 4 touchdowns, and 470 yards and a losing effort to the Bears. What in the world is Joe Flacco? What did he drink that morning?
He didn't do it for the Colts last year. I will say that. But Flacco, he's proving to be one of the best and most reliable backup quarterbacks that we've seen in many years. A couple of years ago when he had a transformative backup season with Cleveland Browns. He didn't play so well with the Colts, but this year he's playing as good as Joe Burrow has played. 470 yards. He set a career passing record for himself. 4 TDs, 470 yards. That's impressive.
42 points.
Insane.
But the Bengals lost.
Yeah. True. Losing effort to the Bears. Larry, what are your thoughts on Flacco?
I think he's played well since the trade. And he's certainly got a lot to work with in Cincinnati.
A lot of work.
I mentioned him earlier. If I look at the last couple of weeks, I got to take my hat off. He's been more than adequate, just like he reminds you of Burrow. I mean, putting up 40 points. He's got 80 points in the last 2 games. It's 0-2. Team's 0-2.
Unbelievable.
They can't stop anybody.
Sick. That is sick. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
I've heard the pundits say this, and I agree with them. He throws a pretty ball, right? That ball looks nice coming out of his hand. And like Larry said, they've got, 2 of the best receivers in the National Football League, right? And so he's played really, really well. The problem is not on the offensive side of the football. The problem is that defense is trash. And I think they got rid of a couple of their defensive players during this trade deadline as well.
Well, the thing that was just almost comical to me is, and I know the coach, I mean, he's got to say this, right? And they ask him, the trade deadline is coming up. This is before the trade deadline. This is Sunday. They said, well, are you going to make any trades? Do you think you have the right players? He said, no, we've got the right players. Like, dude, seriously? You just gave up. But he's got to say that. He can't say, no, our defensive players are trash, and we got to go out and find some more talent. So he can't say that. But I will tell you, one thing that just strikes me when I watch Flacco is there's something to be said for being in the right system and playing with some talented players. If you don't have anybody to throw to, I mean, I thought Jaden Daniels, we're going to get to the Commanders game, but he had such a tough night, the receivers could get no separation. Those Cincinnati Bengal receivers, those boys get separation. They are wide open a lot, and it's because they run great routes. I mean, they run great routes.
Hey, not only that, Greg, they catch the ball with people next to them.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. How about that? That helps a lot, too. Yeah. That helps a lot, too.
And give Caleb some credit in that game, too. They scored 47 points. He caught 2 passes. One was a touchdown, and he threw 3 touchdowns. So
the Bears are a sneaky little – I mean, that was another Commanders game I went to. And I know the Commanders' defense, they're kind of like wet toilet paper at times too, right? I get that. Right. But the Bears can move that ball up and down the field. And I think a lot of that has to do with this guy, Johnson. He gets it. He knows how to, he's in the film room and he's innovative. He can create, but they also are executing pretty well too. And they had a lot of penalties against the Commanders. Larry,
one thing I want to say about that? Last year, the Commanders got a lucky bounce, won the game. Their season took off. The Bears went down to 2. Washington played the Bears. They turned the ball over 3 or 4 times. Their season has gone down to 2, and the Bears are going off away.
So true. I mean, that is so true and funny. I mean, because it's you couldn't predict that. You could not predict that. Now, one of the things that caught my eye this weekend too. Cam Little kicked a 68-yard field goal. 68 yards. I mean, that thing looked like a missile, and it could have gone farther. I mean, it didn't run out of steam at the goalpost. Chuck, will that record hold up?
I watched that game because they played the Raiders and did right before the half. And Danielle, my daughter, was like, Dad, they just try and get in position to kick a field goal. I said, Danielle, that's too far. They can't kick that field goal. And sure enough, they lined it up. and he knocked it in. I think that record's going. I've been saying this all year too. I think that record's going to get broke again. Dallas has this kid named Aubrey.
Yeah.
This guy, he can kick it for 70 yards.
Yeah, he's got.
And this guy in Denver has a guy too, and plus the air is thin there.
Yeah.
They're going to kick a 70-yard field goal before the year is out. Jason Tuck, the
Justin Tuck, yeah.
He owned the record at 66. But that record's going to get, it's already been broke, but I think they're going to kick a 70-yard field goal this year.
David, what are your thoughts?
Look, reality is there's something with the ball. Nothing has happened with the legs of the kickers. They didn't squat 630 pounds like I did. And I did squat 630 with reps. I just wanted to throw that in. I found a place to put that in.
I saw what you did there.
I think there's something going on with the ball. I really do. I do.
Larry, what do you think about? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, David's being cynical, but it actually is something different with the balls. They're letting the kickers break the balls in before the game and kick, and they're actually, instead of them being, I guess it made some difference because it seems like people can kick it further now. With respect to the record, the same kicker might very well break it.
He kicked 70 in preseason.
Yeah.
Like Greg said, he cleared it by 4 or 5 yards.
Oh, yeah. It would have been good for 75.
Larry, you must be looking at my notes. I said that record will be broken, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Cam Little broke his own record because that guy can kick. He's got confidence, and they have confidence in him. And they find themselves in those situations a lot where, they don't move the ball that well. So he could very well get in that position again.
And yet our kicker couldn't even make the point after attempt, and we lose the game by 1.
Who's our?
The Raiders. I'm sorry, the Raiders. The Raiders couldn't make the PAT, and we lose.
And a lot of it is going to be opportunity. David and I are communicating about that, and when I put it out in our little chat, and David came back with a great question. It's probably right before the half. I'm like, yeah, it was. Yeah. So you got to be in that position. I don't know if people will try that at other times during the game.
Right.
He's going to leave the other team good field
position and stuff.
And I saw some other people try some long kicks and miss them.
Right.
Okay, so let's stay with you, David, Larry. So the Bills beat the Chiefs 28-21 at home. Has the tide shifted, and are the Bills over the hump with the Chiefs?
Who you asking?
Anybody that plays Kansas City is going to have a fight on their hands. Now, Buffalo is a good team. They've proven that, and they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
No doubt.
Yes.
No doubt about it. He's been consistent his whole career. I don't think anybody's going to dominate Kansas City to the extent that they'll beat them every time. All right. So I think most of those teams are hoping Kansas City stays where they are now, which is out of the playoffs, because I don't think anybody really wants to play them. Kansas City is not done if you got to play them in a meaningful game.
All right, David, are the Bills over the Chiefs hump?
No. First of all, they can beat the Chiefs in the regular season. I think they're 6-1 or 5-1 in the regular season the last couple of years. In the playoffs, they lose to the Chiefs. If they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, then I will agree.
All right, we're going to a few quick notes about a few games, and then we're going to get away from the NFL because I want to get to college football because there's so much happening in college football. But the Seahawks Commanders, again, I was at that game. What a disaster. Turnovers. I felt bad for Jaden Daniels. He was running for his life every play. And the thing that really just drove me nuts was they didn't even try to run the ball until their third possession. I'm like, they came out passing, and our receivers just cannot get separation. So I think the Commanders got a lot of work to do, especially now that Daniels is out. Boy, they got problems. Larry, what are your thoughts on the Commanders Seahawks game? And by the way, the Seahawks can ball. That's a good football team. Larry.
Well, they played a poor team this week, so I wouldn't put too much credence in this. Commanders, I think I said on the show before, I don't like the fact that I think they call too many running plays for their quarterback. And then at the time when they called that last one, to me, it was no point in doing that. I don't even think he should have been in the game at that
He shouldn't
point.
have been in the game. Exactly.
But the Commanders are done. You know, they've had too many injuries on offense. I mean, I don't see what they could do. The starting running back got hurt the first game. The top two receivers haven't played. I think between them, they played one game this year when Daniels didn't play. They're done. They're done. They overachieved last year. They had all the good breaks. This year, the opposite is happening to them.
David, what are your thoughts?
The concern about Jaden Daniels being in the game, quarterbacks play. Peyton Manning never went out of a game. Never. Most great quarterbacks stay in the game, regardless of the score. And, you know, it's hindsight thinking to think that they had to pull Jaden Daniels. The problem is Jaden Daniels doesn't protect himself very well. It's starting to look exactly like RG3. And he's a slight fellow. He's got to protect himself. Guys get hurt if you try to do too much. They were down. You wanted to play. Protect yourself. Just go into fetal position like Peyton Manning used to.
Hey, David, this is in hindsight on my side part. He wasn't really effective in the game, and they were down by 20-something points.
Well,
I saw no reason to have him out there.
You don't take the starter out of the game. You just
I would have done it in that case. I mean, it was no reason, and then especially still calling plays for him to run the ball at that point. Of the game.
He shouldn't have run. He should have just become a fetal position. That's what should have happened.
But it was a design run. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't.
He should have run to the sideline and said, "Here, you take the ball."
I don't even think he just fell funny. I don't think the hit.
It was an awkward fall. It wasn't a brutal tackle. It was an awkward fall.
Right. I think they only really need to call about 1 or 2 runs for him, design runs each half. They do it every series.
Yeah.
Multiple.
I don't know what makes them think he's so durable. I don't know what gives them that idea, but if you ever see him, and maybe I've seen him, he is skinny as a rail. He is thin. There's no way he can be durable. There's no way.
But it happens to running backs when you give them the ball a lot of time, they get hurt too. Anybody will get hurt if you're running it too. I'm fine with him when the play breaks down and he runs out of the passing situation.
Right.
Their offense is to have him run almost every series a couple of times.
All right, Chuck, what are your thoughts?
So we have a history here with RG3. So it's always a sensitive subject for us that when you put that quarterback in harm's way. And there's one thing in the middle of a real game that has some meaning. The game is still in doubt. But at that point in the game, there is no – look, Patrick Mahomes, with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, 2 minutes left in the third quarter, the Chiefs played the Raiders. The Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes out. He didn't play not one down the rest of that quarter or any of the fourth quarter. So there are times when you take that thing out, quarterback out. And when you don't do that and this happens, well, of course you're going to be second guessed. Of course you're going to be. So but it doesn't matter because I think our season was over anyway, right? Us and the Cowboys.
So the last game, speaking of the Cowboys.
And one more thing about Seattle. They scored the first 5 times they had the ball against us. So it wasn't just our offense.
One more thing about the Commanders. Yeah. Nobody punts against them. They don't get any punt return. Right. I don't even think the Seahawks 3 weeks. One return every 3 weeks.
Dude, I don't even think the Seahawks punter had his cleats on.
Nobody punts against them.
I don't even think he had his cleats on.
They might do a mercy punt in the fourth quarter or something like that.
In fact, in the first half, I think Sam Darnold was perfect. I don't think he had an incomplete
16 for 16.
Exactly.
And they scored 31 points.
It's like 20 straight passes or something.
At our place.
Yeah. So the last game I want to talk about is the Cowboys and Cardinals. First of all, you mentioned the Cowboys, Chuck, so thanks for bringing them up. The Cowboys can't stop a runny nose with a box of tissue. They are awful. I mean, that is a bad defense. And when I looked at the Cardinals, man, Jacoby Brissett, I'm thinking, is it me or should he actually be the starting quarterback? Kyler Murray I'm not sure Kyler Murray is even playing at his level. And when you look at Kyler Murray's like 5'7" maybe, he's got to roll out to even see a passing lane. And so I was watching that game thinking to myself, the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones is there in the box, and Stephen A is with him. And I saw Stephen A on his show after that. The next day, he said, I got up and left when I did because it was getting ugly, and I knew he was doing business, so I felt like I needed to leave because it was getting ugly up there, which made me laugh and made my day. But I just thought it was a great day. David, what are your thoughts on that game in the Cowboys?
The Cowboys are not very good. They've got a pretty good quarterback, but he was outplayed by Jacoby Brissett, a journeyman quarterback who is fighting to stay in the league as a possible starting quarterback. Right. He's in that fourth tier.
Yeah. I think he's like 6 teams, I think. Yeah.
He had a chance to become a regular starter with the Colts. It just didn't quite work out. Right. But he's a good backup quarterback, and he can give you 3 or 4, maybe even 5 good games as a starter. That's his ceiling. Cardinals can beat the Cardinals are better than the Cowboys. The Cowboys are just not a good team. Period.
It's not. Yeah, they're not. Larry, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Jacoby, he's a good backup. He's a good backup. I'm not going to go with so long. I'll go with Murray over him. And the thing about the Cardinals, actually, I think this is the first game that was decided by more than one score, and they happen to win this one. They lost a lot of close games this year. Yeah. I think Dallas is really not. They have to score 40 points to have a chance to win.
They even have a chance, exactly. Not to win, but
other than the Commanders.
Yeah. David made a good point. The quarterback is pretty good, and the 2 receivers are pretty good. Although Pickens is that foul or that penalty he had when he put the football in the guy's face. Got a 15-yard penalty. But they got 2 good receivers. They got a good quarterback. It just happened to be that was his worst game of this year. That was his worst game. Just like the other night, Buffalo's quarterback, that was his best game of the season, and that was Mahomes' worst game of the season. Right.
Oh, one thing just to keep in mind about Jacoby Brissett, he's going to play the next 4 games. He's going to start because they put Kyler Murray on IR.
Yeah.
So
I think they did that because I think the coach prefers Jacoby.
Well, the coaches basically said that.
I know.
Kyler Murray is done.
I think so too.
That was my thought.
Coach.
Final NFL thoughts before we move to college football. Chuck.
Pete Rozelle must be happy as hell because there's a lot of parity in this thing. Bottom line.
Larry.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Chuck. I'm not. It seems like it's parity to the sense that there are a lot of good teams. There are also a lot of bad teams too. So maybe it is parity at both ends of the spectrum.
All right, David.
We're at the halfway point. We've seen a lot. The last half of the season is going to be very interesting, and it's not going to. I think we'll all be surprised at the end of this rainbow.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking. There are teams evolving, right? My 3 emerging teams are the Colts, Patriots, and Seahawks, who were nowhere to be seen last year as the playoffs progressed. But this year, they are all 3 emerging teams who could go deep into the playoffs. They all can really go deep into the playoffs, all 3 of those teams, in my opinion. Okay, college football. Let me just tell you right off, when the season started, the top 10 teams were Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, LSU, Oregon, and Miami. Those are the top 10. Texas is ranked 13th. Penn State's not ranked. Clemson is not ranked. Georgia's 5th. They got that one pretty good. Ohio State is 1st. Notre Dame is 10th. Alabama is 4th. LSU is not ranked. Oregon is 6th. And Miami is 18th. Man, this is – if there's ever been proof as to why we play the game, this is it. Because the preseason rankings, I understand why Nick Saban and all these other coaches hate preseason rankings because they're never right. They put undue pressure and they make things seem like they are that actually are not at all. So that was really phenomenal. What are your thoughts about the rankings and just opening the season as it stands right now? Let's start with you, David.
Indiana's the number 1 team, period. They've had the most decisive, tremendous wins this season. And I can understand why Ohio State is ranked ahead of them because they're the Ohio State University, period.
And they're defending champs.
And they're the defending champions. And Indiana, his football history is not good. How bad, Chuck?
No, David, no.
I'm not going to say.
I had the bleep button ready. I was ready to hit the bleep button. Larry, what are your thoughts?
I'm not a believer in preseason rankings or regular season rankings because
You like them to play.
even though I think the teams in the Big Ten, Indiana and Ohio State look good, I don't think they played the schedule that the SEC teams have played. If, of course, the SEC teams are as good as they're supposed to be.
They're not.
I like the games to be decided on the field. I wish I could match up some of the more Big Ten teams against each other. Some of them I don't even think they need to be playing, like Maryland and a few other, Penn State, a few other teams in that conference. But I'm not a big believer in the rankings. I like to see the teams actually play each other. So, and I'll just back off. Not a big believer in the rankings preseason or during the season.
There you go. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
So, and you mentioned Penn State. At the beginning of the year, they thought Penn State, because they got a lot of talent,
Yep.
they thought they were going to be in the top rankings also. But look, at the end of the day, the top two teams in all those divisions, they got to play each other, right? At the end of the day in the championship. So Ohio State will meet Indiana. I don't know who the two teams will be in the SEC and the ACC, but they got to face each other. So it is what it is. I'm okay with that. The preseason thing is a little misleading this year because we knew that the NIL and the transfer portal changed everything. And that's what we were saying. So I think Indiana is good, but even until they play Ohio State, I'm not sure.
Okay, so if the season ended today, Oregon would play Texas, Michigan, they would play Georgia, Alabama and Ohio State would both get byes. In the other bracket, Notre Dame and BYU, Virginia and Ole Miss, Texas A&M and Indiana University would both get byes. It's very possible we could end up with an Ohio State, Indiana University national championship game. That's very possible.
That'd be
Big
great.
Ten championship game and a national championship game.
And so my thought is, here's my thought. The first time Indiana plays Ohio State, they will likely get edged out. They will probably get overpowered. But I'm not so sure the second time around it would be so easy. Chuck, what are your thoughts on that?
I can't wait to that game. I can't wait till Indiana and Ohio State because right now, I'm just not sure myself. That Oregon win at Oregon was huge, and I'll have a better sense this weekend. We play Penn State at Penn State, and I'll have a better sense of us after that game.
I don't think you're going to learn much on that game, but that's
Hold on. One thing about that. Indiana doesn't have five. They have 3 stars. They don't have 4 and 5 stars. We know that Penn State has talent. We do know that because that's what they recruit. So it's not like they're,
yeah.
The cupboard isn't
Larry,
there.
what are your
The cupboard
thoughts?
isn't there.
What are your thoughts, Larry?
Chuck, let it go, man. Indiana doesn't take their foot off the gas. Penn State is not as good as them. They're going to run them out there.
And we beat Iowa by 7 at Iowa.
Iowa's better than Penn State.
Everybody beats Penn State.
You know what?
Indiana will be no different. They'll beat them too.
I hope you're right.
I know. I mentioned that to you last week.
You know what,
David, what are
guys?
your thoughts?
This whole 3-star, 4-star, this is high school evaluation. Players gain weight, they get faster, they get stronger, they get better coached. Just because you were a great player in high school does not mean just because you went to Penn State that you're going to hold that up. Chuck Cignetti has proven that. His 3-star and 4-star players and 2-star players are playing like 6-star players. They're kicking the snot out of everybody they're playing. I don't care what the high school ranking was of some of the players that they got, or if they got a bunch of them from, where was he, Virginia?
Yeah, he was at James Madison.
James Madison. So what? They're better. They're better now. They got an ass kicking last year by Notre Dame in the playoffs.
And Ohio State.
and Ohio State, but they got better.
And
Chuck
here's the thing.
Cignetti looks like a real coach.
They're beating everybody, and Penn State's beating nobody.
Hey, Larry,
Nobody.
we only beat Iowa by 7, and we barely beat Oregon at Oregon. Everybody else has been a dog.
But they won. Yeah,
I know.
Really think about it. Did you expect them to blow everybody out during the whole season?
Well, that's how he rolls. That's how he plays.
No, but I
Honestly,
mean, did you
Chuck-
expect them to blow everybody out like they've done?
You
Chuck,
sound like a
honestly,
booster, Chuck.
I
You sound like a
think right
booster. You're
now,
not satisfied.
No,
If
I
they
think they've got
very
significant number of
satisfied.
blowouts.
bro, if they played Iowa now, it wouldn't be a 7-point game. They're better. They're a much better team than they were then. They've gotten better as the season has progressed. They've gotten better and better.
But I think if you look at any school's record, they're not going to blow everybody out they play
Right.
anyway.
Right.
Absolutely.
They've been winning and they've been blowing a lot of people out.
Right.
It's that any given Sunday, man. I mean,
I want to get past
they're
the
winning
Penn
when they
State
have
game.
that
I
any
want to
given
get
Sunday.
past the Penn State game.
That would like ruin their
That's
whole
not gonna be a
season.
problem.
Oh,
Can I say something controversial?
sure.
Yes.
The
No, not you,
ACC,
David.
the ACC is a Group of 5 level conference now. I'm sorry,
This year.
they're
Yeah.
not very good.
They should.
What's the other one that starts with an A? They're better than them. The ones of South Florida. South Florida,
EAC.
AAC.
the AAC.
Atlantic something.
Yeah, they're better than the Atlantic Coast Conference. They're
Well,
better.
you're
than
gonna
ACC
see what
haven't
this
really been
12
that good in football.
What'd you say,
They
Larry?
Has the ACC really been that good in football? It seems like they might have one or two
Oh,
teams.
There was a
Clemson.
time when Clemson,
Clemson.
Florida State,
Yeah.
Miami, there was a time when they were really hot, but that time's
Clemson and
gone.
who else?
Florida State, Miami.
Miami is
Keep
is
forgetting what league
a
they
joke.
switch around all the time.
All right, let's leave college football because we've got 2 more things to do. I want to talk about the NBA gambling scandal, and then we'll get to closing comments because we're closing in on time. NBA gambling scandal is every time I read another article, the depth of it and the foolishness of Billups and Rozier. I got all kind of theories, but you know, I got to be honest with you. I think these guys actually end up doing jail time for the things that are starting to emerge that happen. Let's start with you, David. What are your thoughts on the NBA gambling scandal?
The gambling scandal is you have to divide it in two ways.
Right. It's the
One
fixing
is-
games, and then it's the poker stuff.
Yeah, and you got Chauncey Billups hanging with the mafia. That I'm sorry. That's just so. I don't think it's a different category, and why he would involve himself, or whether he was coerced into doing it, whether he got into gambling trouble and they forced him.
See, that's what I think happened.
So I think the NBA is no different than any other sports league, including college, with all the gambling, with all of the betting sites that exist. The NBA is not any worse or any better than any other sports league in that regard.
All right, Larry, what are your thoughts?
And I shared with Chuck and David through our chat. I'm kind of suspicious of this whole thing. Number one, first of all, being at a poker being at a poker game has nothing to do with sports. All right. Really, absolutely nothing. Not point shaving or anything like that. That's just engaging in illegal activity. And people have poker games all the time. Of course, when you're dealing with the mob, and one of the things I raised up in our chat is I don't see any mobsters being named. You mentioned a few last week.
Yeah.
But working for the government, I know our main thing, if I'm working in the Justice Department, I'm going to name these mobsters. You're naming big players, really that, they weren't running the machines. They weren't getting the people in there. They weren't beating people out of the money. And the people that got beat out of their money were doing something illegal too. So I don't see that being at the poker game really has anything to do with sports. Now, if you want to get to Rozier, I guess he was the one, or Damon Jones, one of them, maybe both of them, told some people that somebody wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
Hell, the league should have told the people that weren't going to play. Why? I guess that's messed up saying somebody's not going to play. Well, why didn't the league tell them? And that's the only reason the league has always told people was for gambling purposes.
Right.
Anyway, You know, so I have a question. Why didn't they share that? If somebody's not playing, say the person's not playing.
Yeah. So there are 4 of the 5 major crime families: Gambino, Genovese, Bonanno, and I forgot
New York
that
families. Yeah.
They're all, and there are 12 soldiers that are aligned with these families who are in the indictment, whose names have not made it into the headlines. I know them because I read the articles, but it's, to your point, Larry, it is a travesty. Chuck, what are your thoughts on the NBA games?
So my question here, the phrase I saw was for Chauncey, providing non-public information to gamblers and helping to organize and participate in a rigged game. Now, again, I don't know what that has to do with sports. You know what I'm saying? Like providing non-public. It's weird. I don't understand this whole thing, and so I'm going to just wait to see what happens because it doesn't make sense to me.
The non-public information is mentioning people that are not playing that the league hasn't said is on.
Right.
So
that
I
can have something to do with it.
saying I want to just wait and see what happens because I really the whole thing is confusing to me.
All right. That's all we got time for tonight. Closing comments. David, you have closing comments?
I got one little quick comment. I'm so happy for Tom Brady. Tom Brady cloned his dog. He got a replica of his dog. And you know, isn't Tom Brady great?
I do like his commercials.
His
I just
commercials
thought
are
I
great.
would add that.
Cloning dogs. Yeah. Larry, closing comments.
I'm gonna take my hat off to the Oklahoma City Thunder. For some reason, they've had changes of personnel, but some reason they can bring people that have not been playing, that have been sitting out the year before, and can fit them into that lineup, and they don't miss a beat. You know, they're the only undefeated team left in the league. I'm assuming at some point they're going to lose a game, but they're playing very well, and they picked up taking everybody's best shot. My hat goes off to them early in the season.
Indeed. Chuck, closing comment.
I have a closing comment, but I'm not going to get into it tonight. I may save it for another time. It's about the money. I was going to compare the great players of the 80s, what they made in their career compared to the guys today. I just think it's phenomenal when somebody like KD in his NBA career has made NBA salary has made $600 million.
Wow.
That's called a closing comment, Chuck.
That is a lot of money. Okay, my closing comment, I'll be really quick, and I've shared this with you all. I watched the Allen Iverson Bubba Chuck special on Prime Video. It is one of the best sports documentaries that I've ever watched, and he is one of the most talented. He's a generation. He's one of the greatest talents of our generation. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
a generational talent. The crossover, I forgot how sick the crossover was. When you make Michael Jordan in his prime go the other direction, your crossover is wicked. And he's just a beautiful brother with the heart of a lion. I mean, his heart, he was just so intent, such a competitor. It was unbelievable. His mom is a national treasure. She inspired him to greatness. Now, you got to get over there are some expletives that are used, but that's just that's their language. That's so you got to get over that. I had no problem with it, but I just thought she was so strong and just such a beautiful woman. I must say that I was, along with a lot of other people in the early days, like he's got to drop that posse, he's got to get rid of those people. Those people are his lifeline. Those are his reason for living, and you can't separate him from the people that he grew up in Newport News with. That was his lifeline. God bless Dave, Big Coach Big John Thompson, Governor Doug Wilder for giving that young man his life and his dreams back, and for Tom Brokaw for putting a national spotlight on the travesty that took place in Hampton County and put that young man in a work farm, and he had no business being there. Of course, he was granted clemency, and his conviction has since been overturned. So God bless those folks. And I'm telling you, I thought I loved Allen Iverson. Man, I love Allen Iverson. That's the show for tonight, folks. Thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful evening.